Tuscaloosa in a frenzy!
He caught it. It's caught! It's caught! We talked about Alabama!
Well, finish it off in style.
Swing and a fly ball. Third Sunday in March belongs to the Crimson Tide.
Clock hits 0, and let's get out of here and go to the Final Four!
For the first time in school history, the Crimson Tide made it to the Final Four. Roll Tide and welcome to the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by my co-host Lillian Everest. And Lillian, what an NCAA tournament was for the Alabama men's basketball team.
The best in school history, and Roger, we hated to see it end, but it sure was a fun ride. And just like the Tide's Elite Eight run in 2004, the Tide lost to the eventual national champions.
And just like in 2004, that team would be the UConn Huskies. And going into that Final Four matchup on Saturday night, the Huskies had dominated the NCAA tournament, trailing for only a total of 11 seconds in their previous 4 wins.
It was a tight first half with 5 ties and 7 lead changes. Alabama scored first on this 3 from Grant Nelson. The Crimson Tide was red hot from the floor in the first half, knocking down 8 of 11 from 3-point range. The Tide took their largest lead of the game at 5, 23-18, with just over 11 minutes to go in the first half. Despite the Huskies shooting 14 free throws compared to just 5 for the Crimson Tide, UConn led Alabama by just 4 at the break, 44-40.
The Huskies extended their lead to 8 out of the break, but the Tide battled back and tied the game up at 56-all with just over 12 minutes to play. And check out this dunk from Grant Nelson right over the 7-foot Klingon. The Huskies from there would take control, ending the Tide's run in the NCAA tournament, but Alabama led for a total of 4 minutes and 20 seconds, giving UConn its toughest test in the tournament as the Huskies went on to win the national championship with a victory over Purdue on Monday night.
What's the message to the fans that, after this run?
Yeah, I want to thank them. They've really supported us since we've gotten there. They've gotten behind this. When I took the job, a lot of people said it was a football school, but, there's a large contingent of basketball fans. There's no reason you can't be both. I think we proved you can be good at both. They're good at a lot of sports at Alabama. And they've been great to us since we've been here. So I'm glad that I was a small part of bringing the Alabama fan base some joy through the basketball team and making a Final Four. But while it was great, and I want to, thank them and thank our players for getting us here, we're not finished. We'd like to get back here and win this whole thing. And I think, that's what our goal is going to be. We're going to aim to get back here. We're going to aim to get back here and win the final game. And we just got to keep knocking at the door and, ask for them to continue to support us like the way they've been, and we'll continue to put a winning product on the floor for them.
Mark Sears had a game-high 24 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Grant Nelson had a season-best 15 rebounds to go along with 19 points to earn his 4th double-double of the season and 2nd in the NCAA tournament. And Aaron Estrada also added 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in the loss.
Really incredible season for the Crimson Tide. Alabama finished the year with a 25-12 overall record and reached the program's 2nd ever Elite Eight, and for the first time, a Final Four appearance.
Head coach Nate Oates is now 8-4 in 12 career NCAA tournament games at Alabama, which includes 3 Sweet 16 appearances along with this year's Final Four.
Stay with us. The Alabama Gymnastics team is heading to the NCAA Championships.
We'll have the details on that and more coming up next right here on TideTV This Week.
Tide TV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
Comes to tradition and the history of the program, it's second to none.
Here comes the Tide.
Welcome back inside the Crimson Tide production studio at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover alongside Lillian Everest. And Lillian, men's basketball, not the only Crimson Tide team making a run in the postseason. How about the Alabama Gymnastics team heading to the NCAA championships as well?
That's right, Roger. The 8th-ranked Gym Tide were in Ann Arbor, Michigan this past week, competing for a spot in the NCAA championships in Fort Worth, Texas.
Luisa Blanco and Gabby Gladio led the way on vault as each scored a 9.875. Blanco then scored a session high on bars with a 9.95 to lead the Crimson Tide to a 49.475 team score on the uneven bars.
Ella Burgess then captured a session high score of 9.925 on the balance beam to give Alabama an event team score of 49.4 in their third routine of the night. In the Tide's final event, the floor exercise, Maddie Walagora led the way with a 9.9 as the Tide captured first place with a 197.45. Alabama totaled 8 scores of 9.9 or higher, outscoring Penn State, the host team Michigan, and Kent State to move on to Saturday's regional final.
After their win on Thursday's regional semifinal, the Tide advanced to Saturday's final to take on number 1 Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Penn State.
And the top 2 teams from Saturday's Ann Arbor regional final would advance to the NCAA championships in Fort Worth.
Luisa Blanco led off the evening with a 9.925 on the uneven bars to lead the Tide to a team total of 49.35 in their first routine. In their second event, Shania Adams had her second consecutive event with a 9.9 or higher as she led Alabama with a 9.925. For the second highest beam total of the meet with a 49.35.
On floor, Luisa Blanco and Lily Hudson each scored a team-high 9.95 to give Alabama the event total of 49.65, its third highest floor exercise total of the season. Then, on the last event of the night, Blanco scored a 9.9 on vault to help lead Alabama to the 197.575 team total, good enough for one of the 2 spots to advance to the NCAA championships, along with number 1 Oklahoma.
Congratulations to head coach Ashley Johnston and the Alabama Gymnastics team. The Crimson Tide advancing to the NCAA championships for now the 39th time in program history.
The NCAA championship semifinals will be held Thursday, April 18th in Fort Worth, Texas. The top 2 teams from each semifinal session will then advance to the NCAA championship finals, which will be held Saturday, April 20th.
The Alabama softball team knows a thing or two about playing in the postseason, and this past weekend, Patrick Murphy's squad was here at home in Tuscaloosa. Our Mary Reagan Bullock joins us now for a recap of this weekend's action here in T-Town.
It was an electric weekend here in Tuscaloosa at Rhodes Stadium as the 15th-ranked Alabama softball team picked up a big series win over the Ole Miss Rebels. Alabama took the first lead of Game 1 over Ole Miss after a triple by Bailey Dowling that led to an RBI single from Kendall Clark in the bottom of the second. In the bottom of the 5th, with 2 outs and bases loaded, Kinley Cahalan ripped a double in the gap to drive all 3 runners to make it a 4-0 game. The Tide's defense held Ole Miss as Kayla Beaver earned her 9th complete game and 5th shutout of the season, striking out 9 in the 4-0 win. On day 2, Alabama jumped on Ole Miss early in the bottom of the first, scoring 4 runs on a hit and bases loaded walk. Bailey Dowling in the second increased the lead with an RBI single to make it 5-0. Freshman Jocelyn Brisky had a fantastic performance in her first career SEC start as she picked up the second win of the series 5-1, with just 1 unearned run allowed on 6 hits and 2 walks. Going for the sweep on day 3 with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the second, Kendall Clark launches the ball at the scoreboard, a towering 3-home run for the Tide. In the bottom of the 6th, Emma Broadfoot stretched the lead with her first solo home run of the season to left field. Alabama's defense closed out the series with an amazing defensive grab against the wall and right center by Kristen White. Ailey Johnson closed out the game and gave Alabama the sweep with her 3rd save of the season with a 5-1 win against Ole Miss.
Whatever the series is at the time, Sunday is the game that matters the most. You can't sweep somebody until you win the first 2. And we know that whoever it is, they're going to come out and fight and scratch and claw and whatever it is to make sure that they get that last game.
The Crimson Tide dominated the series against the Rebels, outscoring Ole Miss 14-2 on the weekend. The 3 victories gave Alabama its first sweep at home since 2022 and its 14th sweep all-time against Ole Miss. Reporting from the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Mary Reagan Bullock with TideTV.
Thank you, Mary Reagan. And for her great weekend in the circle, Kayla Beaver was honored by the Southeastern Conference as she was named SEC Co-Pitcher of the Week. Beaver was 2-0 against the Rebels, throwing a combined 11 2/3 shutout innings with 16 strikeouts over the 2 games.
And the Tide's other starting pitcher in the series sweep over Ole Miss earned SEC Freshman of the Week honors. Jocelyn Brisky made her first SEC start in Game 2 of the weekend series on Saturday, throwing a complete game with just 1 unearned run allowed. Softball will be at home again this weekend as the Crimson Tide will host 11th-ranked Texas A&M for a 3-game series beginning on Saturday at 11:30.
A-Day is this weekend in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We'll have the details and preview Saturday's Golden Flake A-Day game coming up next right here on Tide TV this week.
Comes to tradition and the history of the program, it's second to none.
Here comes the Tide.
Welcome back to the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Lillian spring practice about to wind down with the Crimson Tide's Golden Flake A-Day game this weekend.
Roger, Alabama's final scrimmage before A-Day was this past Saturday. Let's go all access for an inside look at the Tide's second scrimmage of the spring inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
So another day in the Denny, baby. Everything, let's go, bro.
Let's go, man. Scrimmage number 2. We get this thing on and popping, man. Roll Tide.
Here we go. Let's get it. Here we go. Here we go. Put on 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 1-0 mindset, right? Why you play every single play. As hard as you can go. Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family.
Had a great scrimmage out there again. We talked last week, a lot of the things that, you want to improve on. It was really good to see us each and every day focus on those things. If you remember, talked about, having a great pass rush, which means we got to keep working on our protection, which, offensively last week we talked about, the run game was strong, and that means the other side we want to see them kind of bow up a little bit more. And so really I thought things balanced out more so to where you didn't see these overriding strengths on either side, which to me, means that the side of the ball that needed to work on it, they got better.
Saturday's A-Day game will begin at 3 o'clock. Admission is free, and the game will be televised live on ESPN. Go to RollTide.com for more details on all of the festivities surrounding A-Day.
How has the Tide improved during spring practice under new head coach Kalen DeBoer? Our Christopher England caught up with one of the leaders on the offensive side of the ball for the Crimson Tide after practice to find that out and how much more in this week's Fresh Off the Field.
I'm Christopher England, and we're here inside the Hank Crisp Indoor Practice Facility, and I'm joined by Jalen Milroe, fresh off the practice field. Jalen, how was practice?
It was good. One thing I can say that was good was the intensity level. We're competing. I think that's the biggest thing when we walk on the field. You try to get 1% better every single time we touch the field, whether it's offense, defense, all come together. And the biggest thing we're trying to do, be a team, and that's what we have. And we have a team here, and we have effective leaders that's stepping up into crucial roles for us. And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of we're steadily trying to climb to be the best version of ourselves. So I'm pleased with where we're at, but we still have more work to do.
This is the last week of spring practice. How have you seen the practices kind of ramp up or change from the beginning to where you are now here in the last week leading up to A-Day?
Yeah, I think preparation is the biggest key to this, because everything's new, whether offensively or defensively, everything's new. So we're all just trying to adjust, but the biggest thing we do have is great coaches, and they're leading us in the right direction to be successful, and we're just learning. We're learning, just trying to grasp all the information that they're giving us. So it's been cool, and then also just getting to know our teammates, and we have a lot of guys stepping into different roles, and so we're just trying to get to know each other, and with these practices have been very helpful. Now we're going on from 13 to practice 14, so I consider our team just moving in the right direction.
Talk about being new. It's probably most new for you being the quarterback of a new offense with a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback coach, new head coach. Just kind of talk about the offense. What have you seen from it so far, and just what can fans expect?
Yeah, we have an explosive offense, and it comes from a head coach that's offensive minded. But the biggest thing we want to do at the quarterback position, be a point guard with the football, distribute it to our playmakers, allow them to make plays in space, whether it's a running back, receiver, tight end. There's a lot of guys that can get the ball, and we're just asking guys to be explosive, but also just trying to cut in half each down. So we have an explosive offense. We're excited for what's to come, but now it's just building our relationship and then also just trying to master our offense.
Let's talk about that quarterback room. You got several guys there kind of competing behind you. You know, you're the leader there. Just kind of what is that like? Because the quarterback is a different position. Like, you know, several running backs will play, a lot of linebacker linemen, but there's only one quarterback that can play at a time. Just kind of talk about that and just the vibe in that quarterback room.
Absolutely. Although there's only one quarterback can take a snap, no matter what quarterback's in, they're QB1. And that's something that we all try to harp on, is that we're learning from each other. And we have a family-like environment in our room. We want to see each of our guys win, no matter who it is. But to speak about each guy, Ty's doing a really good job. Now he's considered a veteran, going into his third year. I'm just happy to have him along the process because he's been really a brother to me and along the process. So he's been a really good friend along the way. And he's steadily learning and growing. Dylan Lonergan doing a really good job. Now transitioning his sophomore year. And he's doing a really good job spinning the ball, learning the offense. That's all you can ask for, is learn, keep growing. Austin Mack doing a really good job coming from Washington, now being here. He has the knowledge of the system, so that's been really helpful when he's on the field with the guys, and just, you know, off of his knowledge, he's able to teach the guys and stuff like that. With his knowledge and stuff like that. Cade Caruth, he's signaling plays. So it's been great. You know, all of our guys in the room are being effective, and so I'm just super proud of them. And then also, we just have a great room, so I'm super excited.
Lastly, just talk about A-Day. What would you like to tell the fans, and how important is it for them to come out and kind of fill the stadium on Saturday?
Absolutely. This is the first look of our 2024 Alabama football team. We want the stadium rocking. We wanted to have fun, and this is our opportunity to put in display the hard work we put in the dark. So we're just excited. We're ready to have our fans in the stadium, and we're ready to take care of business.
Thank you, Jalen. I appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday, and Roll Tide.
Appreciate you. Roll Tide.
Your fan base is one like no other. All right, that's for real. What you got here, your home field advantage is for real.
In front of a full house at the Rhodes House.
Back it goes to the wall, and it's gone! A miracle comeback for the Crimson Tide! How about some noise at the Rhodes House tonight?
And the Crimson Tide will ride this season's wave all the way to the World Series.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. The Alabama track and field team had a great indoor season. Now Dan Waters' team is tearing up the competition as they rise up in the top 25 rankings.
The Tide's latest meet was their only home meet of this season. This past weekend, as Alabama hosted the Crimson Tide Invitational this past Friday and Saturday.
Crimson Tide collected 7 event titles and 40 top 10 finishes over the 2 days of the Crimson Tide Invitational. Kaylin Harris and Miracle Ailes finished 1 and 2 in the women's long jump. Lily Walters won the women's 3,000-meter steeplechase with the second fastest time in school history, as the Tide also had a trio of top 5 finishes, with Macy Shelp finishing 3rd and Jasmine Bakar 5th.
Keaton Morrison finished 1st in the women's 800 meter as she recorded a new personal best, good enough for 9th all-time in program history. On the men's side, Alabama placed 4 in the top 10 in the men's 800 meter, including a 2nd place finish by Chris Robinson. Samuel Agazi claimed 1st in the men's 200 meter dash.
Tide claimed 3 top 10 finishes in the women's 1,500 meters, capped with a first-place finish by Doris Lamangole. And in the men's 1,500, Carson Burian claimed 1st place, while the men's team of Chris Robinson, Tarsus Oregot, Matthew Weaver, and Spencer Gudgel finished 1st in the men's 4x400 meter relay.
Congratulations to Doris Lemangole, as she was named the SEC Women's Runner of the Week after she clocked the 4th fastest 1,500 meter run of the season with a time of 4 minutes and 11.9 seconds. That's also the 4th fastest time in school history.
And the Tide just keep on rising. The men's team moved up 3 spots in this week's rankings to number 5.
From the track to the greens, the 9th-ranked Alabama men's golf team finished 3rd overall with a score of even par 8.52 at the Mason Rudolph Championship in Franklin, Tennessee. 3 Crimson Tide golfers finished inside the top 20, led by Thomas Ponder with a 5th place finish of 4 under par 209.
And the 24th ranked Alabama women's tennis team held their senior day this past Friday for their last home match of the season. Tide dropped a hard-fought 4-3 contest to 16th ranked Auburn as 7 seniors were recognized prior to Friday's final home match of the season. The Tide concludes the regular season this weekend with road matches at LSU and Texas A&M.
Stay with us. We still have our plays and players of the week coming up next in just 90 seconds.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
And for the first time since 2010, the Alabama Crimson Tide is an NCAA region.
Here today as we introduce Rob as the next head coach of Alabama baseball.
I don't need to sell Alabama.
Start the party for the right field Rangers.
This program has laid the foundation. Now it's time for us to knock down the gates of Omaha. And we're going to do that here real soon.
Nelson attacking. Oh, we just got the full Nelson. I am no longer subdued. This is the full Nelson.
In the left, and what a catch made by Petritz to keep that from being a base hit.
First pitch crushed. That's got a lot of carry off the top of the scoreboard. Hello, Kendall Clark. 3-run homer, and Alabama strikes first. Hammers it. That's got a lot of carry, but Kristen White makes a spectacular catch.
Those are our plays of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
Now let's take a look at our players of the week.
Mark Sears had a game-high 24 points in the Tide's Final Four matchup to go along. With 5 rebounds and 3 assists, Sears finished the year with 797 points and 26 games of scoring at least 20 points, both school records.
And Grant Nelson came on in the final 3 games of the NCAA tournament in a big way. In that final game against UConn, Nelson finished with his 4th double-double of the season with 19 points and a season-best 15 rebounds.
And in softball, Kayla Beaver finished the weekend 2-0 against the Ole Miss Rebels as she led the Crimson Tide to a sweep. Beaver threw a complete game shutout in Game 1. Then on Game 3 on Sunday, Beaver threw 4 2/3 more scoreless innings. In all, Beaver struck out 16 over 11 2/3 scoreless innings.
A big week for the Crimson Tide, Roger, and we'll be right back here again next week with a full recap of A-Day and the latest on Alabama athletics.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Tide TV This Week. We'll see you again right here next time, same channel, right back here.
You can also watch us online at RollTide.com and on our official UA Athletics page on YouTube. See you next week, everyone. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.